Well, howdy folks, this is Buck Buckner from In the Bunker, and I'm freaked out. And you know why I'm freaked out. It's the fringe middle, the silent majority. Why are they so silent? What are they covering up? You know, it's a conspiracy. Many conspiracies. And think about it, Bigfoot, all the evidence, all the eyewitness accounts. But where is the evidence? They're hiding it, the silent majority, and that's why they're so quiet. And it's an eerie silence. It's not a quiet. I take that back. It's a silence. It's an eerie silence. And we heard that on the call-in. It was so eerie. It freaked me out. And that made me think, I'm going to call Dr. Stan Van Gundy. He's a cryptologist. He's an expert. He has so much to offer on this topic. Now, some of his recent research was looking into the sound characteristics that you would look for and differentiating between silence and quiet. And and his research with cryptology, studying Bigfoot. That's just a fancy way of talking about Sasquatch. He who builds is a scientific name, and it's quite possible that Bigfoot helped build the pyramid. So without further ado, welcome Dr. Van Stan Gundy. We're close friends. I want the audience to know that does not going to cloud my hard-hitting interview style, Stan. And it's just so good to have you here. So maybe you could introduce yourself to the audience.
Why, thank you, Buck. Yes, well, let me tell you. I have been a researcher at the University of Southern North Dakota now in cryptozoology for the last 25 years.
That's fascinating, Dr. Gundy. The work you do, it's so vital. It's so vital and it's fascinating. Maybe phenomenal is a better word. And you know, I know over the years you've worked closely with other researchers, and for example, Dr. Collins, I've had him on the show. I've spoken to him, and I'm very familiar with his work, and I know you've developed a friendship over the years. Maybe you could provide some details on that.
I've been on the forefront of these studies for the last 30 years, if not longer. And it's a dangerous field. At the last cryptozoologist convention in Nashville, Tennessee, my opponent, Dr. Burt Collins, and his acolytes disrupted my symposium. They turned over chairs, they hooted, and I was jeered.
Well, that kind of confirms, in my mind, how competitive and passionate the researchers are in your field. And that's just a testament to the work you do. The work you do. I mean, what is it like to be Dr. Stan Van Gundy, to wake up and you're putting on your boots? And I know you put your boots on just like everybody else out there, but then from there, your day diverges because your research is just so cutting edge, and even past the cutting edge, that it's kind of loosening up the material for the eventual cutting edge. And we'll eventually get there. I'm already there. I'm well past there. I think you would agree, Dr. Gundy. So, well, tell us a little bit more about some of the things you're doing. You know, what do you do when you wake up and kind of go about your normal day?
Now, I apologize unreservedly for the fisticuffs that happened afterward. I am not a violent man by nature, but I was physically assaulted in the hallway of the Best Western Hotel afterward by Collins and his gang of thugs. This is a story that concerns the entire cryptozoological world. Collins is a villain. These people will stop at nothing.
It brings me back to the topic of silence and quiet, an eerie silence and a peaceful quiet. And there's a big difference. I'm very intrigued about that because I do think that if we could detect the eerie silence better, that's where the clues are. That's where you're going to find the Sasquatch evidence, where the silent majority is covering it up. And what do you think about that, Dr. Stan? I know I've been very influential in many of the research ideas you have, and we can talk about that later. But what are your thoughts on that?
My ongoing research having to do with sound algorithms of Sasquatches in the woods in British Columbia has been stymied by the retraction of a government grant. They want their money back. Seems the project to them wasn't worthwhile.
That is truly fascinating, Dr. Gundy. Dr. Van Stan Gundy, folks, we are so fortunate to have him in the bunker today. And just so you know, you're thinking, oh, Dr. Stan Van Gundy and Buck Buckner, they're the best friends. We are, but that doesn't mean he knows where the bunker is. I met him at a location far away from the bunker, and I blindfolded him. You know how you turn a person around and they lose track of where they are? And I did that, and Dr. Gundy understood why, because he's a cryptologist. He knows how vital having an uncontaminated laboratory conditions in the bunker. Think about it, folks. It can't be a bunker if everybody knows where it is. And so I met Dr. Gundy, and that wasn't a problem at all for Dr. Gundy, because he's a professional in a textbook sense. And when I say textbook, if you did have a textbook and there was a definition of professional, it would be a picture of Buck Buckner, for sure. But then maybe a second or third definition, you might have a Dr. Van Stan Gundy. So tell us a little bit more, Dr. Gundy, about everything you're doing.
I have gotten a huge grant from the University of Miskatonic to perform cryptozoological studies in the backwoods of Massachusetts.
Can I just stop you right here to say how impressive your work is and how much society and my listeners benefit? And I hope the silent majority, quite frankly, is listening, because they might learn something too, although you're not going to hear them call in and give you praise necessarily. I mean, maybe they will, but it's an eerie silence when they call in, and I hope that they don't. I mean, that freaked me out completely. And that's why I'm so happy to have you in the studio. So thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Gundy. And, you know, in closing, is there anything else you'd want to share with the audience? You know, I just kind of give you a freebie here. I know I've been hitting you with some tough questions, Buck Buckner's hard-hitting style. But I just wanted to give you a freebie here, you know, to kind of promote some of your work. So go ahead, the platform's yours. The bunker is all yours, as I like to say.
I've also hired a private security company because the cryptozoological world is being rocked by scandal and violence and thuggery. Collins and his faction will stop at nothing to upset my research and disrupt my operations any way they can. This villain is awful. He needs to be stopped.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Stan Van Gundy. Thank you, Stan. It's been a complete thrill to have you in the bunker, and we're going to go to campfire break. Stan, I'm going to, lead you out of the bunker. Again, I'm going to have to blindfold you and turn you around several times. Thank you so much for being here. It's such a privilege to have known you and know you over the years. So thank you so much for being here in the bunker. Folks, we're going to take a campfire break. What a show. What a show. Dr. Stan Van Gundy, and we'll be right back with Buck Buckner in the bunker after this campfire message.